Hi there. So I'm Rachel Hooper. I'm the coaching commission lead over in the Northwest, and I'm delighted this evening to be joined by Lucy Glover, whose home club is Warrington, and I've just been going through her list of wins, and we're not too sure in terms of domestic how many Nat Schools and Nat Champs wins she's had over the years, which is testament to how many she's won. 5 Henley Women's wins, and in terms of GB career, it's absolutely amazing. So 2015 got gold at GB France and at the Coupe, and then as Junior World Championships in 2016 got a silver medal. Became a junior, an under-23 world champion in 2017 while he was still 18, which is a phenomenal achievement. 2018 bronze at the under-23 world championships, and currently reigning world champion, having won the under-23 world championships again in Sarasota last year. So thanks for your time, Lucy. Really appreciate it. It's an opportunity during lockdown to really get hold of some of our international athletes because you've got a little bit more time on your hands. And I know that you're studying up in Edinburgh these days, but do you want to give us a little bit of an introduction as to how you got into rowing and how you sort of got into the junior realms of GB as well?
So I'm Lucy. Rowed at Warrington Rowing Club as a junior and got into rowing from my school. I went to the high school. They had a rowing awesome project where they wanted to get more juniors into the rowing club. So my brother had a go and I had a go. And at the time I did loads of different sports, but I just really fell in love with it and had a massive group of juniors who also did it, which made it really fun and exciting. So just kept going really and just enjoyed it more and more, and realised that when I put my mind to it and I put the work in, that we were getting some nice medals. whether it be Northwich Head or Nat Schools as a J15, it was all good fun at that time.
Good stuff. So I remember as I was coaching in the region as well at the time, coaching the juniors, so you were very much the sort of, I felt like there was a really good group of junior girls, particularly in the region. I think you and a number of other athletes in the region really sort of pushed the standard of junior girls rowing up in the region, which was awesome. And there's a big legacy from that as well. But just moving from, so your J15 year obviously was very successful, Nat Schools medals and championships and things like that. And then you moved into the quite unusual situation at J16 of going to represent GB at the GB France match and at the Coupe as well. So that was exam year for you for GCSEs, so that was major achievements internationally and academically as well, because you've got your exams and have gone on to do great things academically as well. So just talk us through kind of your first experiences of GB trials and going through that. So
yes, so we decided that even though I was a bit younger, we'd have a go at I think you have the option of doing J16 trials or the J18 ones at that age. So the J16 one's just in February, but we decided with my coaches that I'd start in the November process because my ergo got the cut off for the ergo at that point. So managed to do the first trials and get through the next one, and really I had absolutely no expectation. We just kind of did it basically for the experience. And at the time, there was a good group of girls who were all kind of pushing on, training hard at the gym at Warrington on the water. So we kind of just kept going. And then I remember we got to like March, April time when the final kind of trials are. And I remember that I managed to just like squeeze into like the top 12 that they take to the race off, or like the final trials for the juniors, which I really didn't expect at the time. So between that block, between the final trials and the Coupe, I was just training away with literally just enjoying it, having fun with my friends. And when it came to it, I actually remember that week was really good because I think it was like Henley Women's final trials or something else. I got like 2K PB, won at Henley Women's, and there was one, I think it was like the final trials went well or something. And then I got to the GB France
Oh, you smashed that in your single.
The race, that was very scary, because that was one time trial, and if that doesn't go well, then you're out really. But so I was a bit worried for that. I remember I was quite nervous. But yeah, just enjoyed it and managed to sneak in to do both.
Yeah. So you did GB France in a single and coupe in a quad.
Mm-hmm.
So that's fantastic to be able to go from those two different boat types. And the rest of your world medals have all been in quads as well, haven't they?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously coming from quite a small club, but you had a really good, strong group of girls that you were rowing with. What was the sort of balance of between you going out in single and crew boats, and how do you think that was beneficial to have that mix of going out in different boat types?
Yeah, I think it was really good. I went out in my single a lot, which was good because that meant that I could work on like a boat feel and different bits and elements of like my progression. But like going in crew boats was really important too. So I did a bit of a mixture of both. But I'd say I did like a bit more sculling in my single. But going in the crew boats was great because it meant that, you know, you got to work with other girls, work out how. I think the main thing that I learned from that is how to, when I was in the crew boats as well, how to people management and how to get the most out of everyone in your crew, and how different people respond to different calls well. Not just the actual rowing and getting a boat feel for like the boat moving quicker, but like how to get the most out of everyone, which was really important, I think, going forwards.
Yeah, so there's obviously a dynamic that you need to get, and it's quite a quick turnaround in terms of crews being formed for things like coupe, and I think it's normally about 2 weeks from crew formation to racing, so you've got that really short amount of time that you get that. So what do you think you bring to a crew boat then? What do you prefer in terms of ways to people get the best out of you?
How do people get the best out of me?
Yeah.
Well, that's a really hard question, but I don't know, just I think one main thing is having a positive policy. That's how we sometimes phrase it, is that even if the session hasn't quite gone to how we'd like it to go, we just keep being constructive and try and find something good, but use that as like, actually, if we've not had a very good session, it's a good thing, because that means we can get better, we can find speed, and we can go quicker. So I really like crewmates to have that approach and like, you know, check onto this journey that this is a good thing because we can get better, and you know, it's kind of exciting in a way.
Yeah. Obviously positive attitudes has a big impact in terms of that short turnaround as well.
Mm-hmm.
So coupe, obviously, I think a lot of people that have gone on to World Championships and have done coupe as well have always said coupe's a really great introduction into international racing. It's really enjoyable. It's kind of quite relatively informal, and it just feels like it's a real good team event as well, because it's a whole team. So real positives that come out of that. So then, because you're a 1 year junior, so for those who don't know what a 1 year junior is, it's somebody that's got their birthday between the 1st of September and the 31st of December, which meant that you were only eligible for international junior as a lower sixth, so a year 12 student. So you had one more year to crack at it, and that 2016 year was a pretty phenomenal year for you as a junior, and you were performing incredibly well, and made it into the top boat for the Junior Worlds, and came home with a silver medal. How did you feel, about the transition from coupe to Junior Worlds, and also about coming home with that silver?
So firstly, with the silver, immediately, like, I was happy with it, but I wanted a gold medal. But like, looking back on it, it was really sweet because I was with some of my, like, because the summer was so long, we had like, because it was the Olympic year, we had so long to like bond as a crew, and so like there's some of my really good friends now. So like, looking back on it, it was just like, you know, we formed like amazing friendships and things along the way. And a silver medal isn't too bad. And what was the other question? Sorry.
Just in terms of the transition from coupe to Worlds, was that a big step? Was it? Obviously, I mean, because it was towards the end of August, wasn't it? The Worlds, so you had 2 training blocks. So you had trials beginning of July, then 2 big training blocks, and then the Worlds. So there wasn't much time off that summer.
No, I'd say like the step up from Coop was great, like preparation for Worlds, because you got used to, like the race warm up, the like kind of intensity of racing, like racing when you're on the start line, and the roll calls got like, Italy. You got international crews, which you don't get when you're at home pier point for nat schools or nat champs, whatever it may be. So I think it was really great preparation. I really enjoyed both of them.
Good stuff. And then after Junior Worlds, so you were still a domestic junior doing your A levels back at home, but you were under 23 in terms of qualifying internationally to race. Did you find that daunting to start off with? What were your sort of expectations of your first year as an under 23?
I think always I wouldn't really have like expectations. I'd try and think about the process more, because I feel like that works well for me. So it was tricky, because after that year I came to a crossroads. I was thinking, oh my goodness, A levels, a lot of pressure on at school. Obviously I'm at a local rowing club with volunteer coach who was fab, but that's a big commitment, stepping up to under 23 program with people who are on university rowing programs. Me and my parents had a lot of discussions whether it would be feasible to stay at my local high school and use the rowing club, which we got a lot out of down at Warrington, and then take it forward on to doing under 23s. But after a bit of discussion, my heart was set on it. I thought, I've had one taster of it now, of Junior Worlds, and I really want to commit to this and just see where we can take it. Because at the end of the day, I was young, so I had a few more under 23s in me, so it wasn't the end of the world if it didn't happen. So once we made that decision, we just committed with it and just trained all year. Had amazing help from my mum and dad, my coach, and Aid Roberts was fab coming down on a Wednesday or so, just to keep the momentum ticking over. So it was a really big team effort.
And then got selected for the under 23s as an 18-year-old, and you didn't just get selected, you went on and became a world champion as an 18-year-old at the under 23 world championships. And I remember looking on social media and people were trying to dig into the archives going, has anybody ever done that before? And I'm not sure if there was an answer, but if they have, I can't remember if anybody had. I know that there was talk of obviously Greg Sill doing seniors and juniors at the same year, but I'm not sure about that transition from under 23. But so what was it like to become a world champion? Was it sweeter than that first world?
Yeah, it was. Oh, it was so well. It was. So the whole leading up to it was really sweet, because we were like kind of going well. It was yeah, we were having just like such a fun time. We were going fast at the same time, and we had like a good race at Henley Royal on the Sunday where we made the final that year. So we were lining up against the Dutch senior women's crew, who then went on to win at the senior world championships. So we knew we were in good stead, but unfortunately, the day we were meant to race, we had a substitution because one of the girls was sick. So that kind of threw us off guard a bit, and it's not always a nice situation to be in. But yeah, it was really sweet, and it was really fun.
What are your thoughts when you sat on the start line of becoming a world champion? Is it process? Is it thinking about what you've done? What goes through your head when you sat on the start line waiting for the umpire to say go?
I think at that point it's literally just process, because we just thought like take the first stroke and then the rest will follow, because if you think too far ahead, you kind of can get carried away. You never know what can happen. Like, people can catch crabs and all sorts of things can happen down the racetrack. So I was just thinking, stay relaxed, you know what to do. We'd rehearse this so we could trust that, once taken one stroke, the next will follow. So well drilled at that. So we just really thought about that and just tried to relax as much as possible, and didn't ever expect anything, because you never know what can happen in a race situation. we're up for a fight though.
So I guess that summer, I mean, talking about the current A-level students who are sadly not going to get that kind of big wind down into their summer and their amazing long summer that you get once you finished your A-levels. But you finished your A-levels, went on to get into the final at Henley Royal as an 18-year-old, and went on to become a world champion. So that was, I mean, do you feel like as an 18-year-old, you weren't going through some traditional rites of passage that 18-year-olds would be going through? So the going out and the wild parties and the late nights and everything. But do you feel like you ever missed out on any of that?
That was really hard because I remember I had a race the day after like my last day at school where everyone literally goes to the pub at like midday, like straight after school, like in the middle of the day after we've like finished, had our like leaves assembly. So it was quite hard. And I remember like going down for like a training day at Caversham in between, I think it was like just before my last exam. And it was like obviously very hectic, but I think, yeah, did I feel a bit left out? Not really, because the experiences that I got from doing that summer were phenomenal. Like you don't get that in everyday life, and you don't get to mix with, you know, those kind of people who are just like so driven, like-minded, and just like it's just like an amazing experience. And I always think you come out better for it. So no, I didn't really feel like I was missing out. I was just like, that year was so well prepared. Like I started rising right at the start of the year. So I knew that when the rowing season kind of picked up, I'd have everything sorted. So it wasn't the kind of like last minute. I was just really on it. Like I knew it, just worked really hard basically from the start, which made it easier at the end.
So it's all about being super organised, really. Have that plan for the whole year, know where the peaks are, know when your pinch points are going to be, and prepare for them.
Yeah, and I remember I used to get home at about 3:30ish, and I had to train at 6. So I used to use that time, do a bit of revision, and then go train and then do it when I got home. Like it's not about sitting down and like slogging it. It's about using your time efficiently, using a couple of hours, an hour and a half, and doing it well, rather than doing loads. And like training was great because it was a break for me, and then I got back to it and I was more focused. And yeah, it's like going home after school and writing notes down or revision cards, so you've got them then, so you can just revise when the time comes.
Brilliant. Very impressive year, 2017 even. And then going on into 2018, so big transition year into university life. So talk to us about sort of your university choice and how that was in terms of moving away from home and things like that, and how that affected you.
Yeah, so with regards to uni, I didn't really know which one to pick. I went to all the open days, and I had a lot of friends in the year above. So I kind of used that to gauge an insight as to who was having a good time, who was like not having as good a time.
Did the rowing program have a big part of your decision?
A big part, and India's summer side. My friend did a good self for Edinburgh, so off I went. And so yeah, decided that from just like going to the open day, the course, and I'd worked hard at my A-levels, hoping that I'd get my grades would be okay, so that I could get into, so I'll have a bit more choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, off went to uni, which was like, it was a big transition because it's hard being an athlete, like training twice a day and like going to uni at the same time. And it was difficult because obviously usual freshers is everyone going out, getting boozy every night, and then I'm here and I still want to be like, you know, doing well at my rowing too. So at Edinburgh they do have sports halls, so you put with sporty people, which is right by the gym, which is like really handy. But I like got one friend from them, but they're not like the best friends, which was also tricky because I don't know, you expect that you go to uni and you've got all your friends there immediately. But one of the good things that came out of that was like as soon as I started rowing, I had like a huge group of friends immediately, just from training, and you know, people come out for dinner afterwards, which was really good. So throwing yourself into sport at university is probably one of the best decisions you'd ever make.
Good. So regardless of what level you're rowing at, or
yeah,
what you're doing, you've got an automatic social life.
And I also sometimes I enjoy that because obviously it's high performance centre at Edinburgh, but there's a huge range of abilities, so and it's refreshing that people simply do it for enjoyment, which it's nice because it just it just isn't too overwhelming or anything. So that was it was hard, but it was all novel and new, so I just kind of threw myself into it and really enjoyed it and started was still going quick when I had my first year.
Yeah, so your first year at uni, obviously whilst it was a big transition, you still had that consistency of the GB coaches as well, so people like Aid who you're still in touch with and things as well, which is great. And then so coming out of the end of your first year at uni 2018, under 23 Worlds again, where was that one? Poznan, yeah. Quick course. So I remember seeing you after that. I bumped into you at Warrington, and you were disappointed because you'd come home with a bronze, but equally you were quite sort of thoughtful and saying, well, it's every experience that's not gone my way necessarily is a good learning experience, and I'll learn from it. And I took some real positives, and it was quite a tight group of girls, wasn't it? Everybody was very tight in terms of who went in which boat. So what were your reflections on coming away? You've been reigning world champion, and then you came home with a bronze, still another world medal. Let's not undersell this.
It was hard. It was different because I was PBing on everything that year, so I was like, oh yeah, I don't know, maybe I'd got ahead of myself in that the fact I was so focused on oh right, okay, we got gold last year, I want to get gold, but I want to get it by more. The whole year I was just thinking about, I want to get gold by more, I want to get gold by more. And after a while, that's quite exhausting. That's an exhausting way to think, because every race is a new race, and you don't know what the other countries are doing out there and what training or who's in the boats or anything. You can only focus on what you're doing. So I went on, still had an amazing summer and learned so much. Probably learned a bit more about myself in that case. And that was a really hard fought bronze in that race, looking back on it. But it's hard at the time because you're just so outcome orientated. That's the thing with performance sport. It's times, and people don't look at the process as much. But it was a good learning time, I guess, and still had a great time. Yeah.
And then moving into 2019, so there's huge upheaval in terms of some things that were happening within the squad as well, and moved into 2019 and another gold in the summer. Do you want to talk us through that year, sort of moving from that bronze medal and what drove you to keep going and into that position?
So coming off the back of that bronze, went back to training, and I'm trying to think, that feels like ages ago. I think it was fine. It was going fine at the start of the year. I think I probably could have had a bit of a longer break, which would have probably done me quite good.
We're not very good at taking breaks, I know that.
1 week later and I'm on the flipping egg in the garage. It's what are you doing?
Lots of athletes like that.
I think it's hard because you go from a taper to then racing, and then it's what now? Yeah. Anyway, came back into the program, training away, and I think maybe I still brought a bit of that outcome mentality into that season, because when I was then training, I was just thinking about outcome too much, and it kind of detracted from really enjoying the process, because at the end of the day, if you don't enjoy the process, it's not really worth it, because you're doing it twice a day, every day, all year round. So you've got to enjoy that and make the most of it, really. And then a few various bits and bobs happened which kind of caught me off guard again, which weren't great, but they're also learning experiences. And then kind of coming out of that season, when was that last season? I started to pick now because it was so long ago. And then I remember I had quite a few things didn't go to plan. the able trials, which I just like messed up and didn't do very well. But then it started to pick up after Bucks regatta, because I remember got back in the single, I thought, no, you know what, you've got to do yourself justice now and just kind of put my demons to bed. So did that, which was really fun.
Yeah, we didn't mention Bucks medals. Got a gold reigning champ single at the moment.
Yeah, and then
after the weekend reigning champ single.
and we had the 8, which was amazing, because all the way through the last year, like Polly Swan, she was like amazing to me, and a really good friend now. But she was racing with us, which was fantastic to be able to race with like someone who's so talented as her. So that was good, and then finished my exams and went down and started training in crew boats and had some seat racing, and then got selected for Sarasota, which was really fun. And it was very different, because that season there were new faces. It wasn't like the same group that had been for the last 2 years. So I was like really unsure as to where we were gonna like stand in the world. Like we didn't know how we'd do it at all, because we hadn't had any races or anything going into it. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, it kind of relieved the pressure, because going in from reigning gold medal crew to then racing again, it's really hard to keep that performance up, especially when you've been training all over the world for the year. But it was kind of refreshing in a way, because it meant it was a blank slate and we could just make of it what we wanted to.
Yeah, it was a pretty awesome race as well. It came through and I was screaming at the screen when I was watching it.
I can't watch it back. It was so, oh my God.
And then we move into this season, 2020. So third year at uni, and got, most of the season's been cancelled because of flooding. You managed to get some trials in, and here we are. So how many years have you got left as under 23 at the moment?
Unfortunately, this was my last year.
Right. Okay. So I've been talking to some of the junior athletes saying that, those ones who have missed out on their opportunity to ever even go to the Junior World Championships, it's really pretty brutal. For you, you've got 3 under 20. Every time you've been to the under 23s, you've medalled. How are you feeling about it not happening? I mean, you're still a reigning under 23 world champion.
I'm sad about it, because it's disappointing, because it would have been great to race, and the summer is just so fun, like training, and it's just great. So I am really sad about it, but equally I think it's a really good time for me to focus on things that I want to work on, like personal things, like my physiology on the ergo and technical things, and just doing something different for a little while. I think that's really good for you. Like sounds funny, but I'm trying to like get better at skipping. It's just something to work at over the next few months or so. So it's disappointing, but it's a good time to do something different and be at home.
Yes. So, it's been a long road in terms of starting when you were 13. Mm-hmm. And getting to where you are now, and it's in terms of the intensity of what you've done, in terms of going for the last 5 years within the squad, that's major training blocks. And this little bit of downtime, whilst for some athletes it's absolutely brutal, because they're never going to, there's some people who are in your position age wise who've never been to the under 23s but might have been going this year. So that's pretty brutal, but there is that sort of rest and recuperation and that bit of breathing space to allow yourself to, as you say, work on the things that probably coaches have said for years. You just need to work on that, or work on tweaking that a little bit. So, and that's certainly advice I know that lots of coaches have been giving out. It's the time to work on the things that your coaches nag you about all the time, but you never have time to actually do them. So in terms of sort of how you're looking towards the rest of this season or next season, are you seeing it as sort of a really extended season towards 2021 now, or how are you sort of picturing it in your head?
So I think with regards to the going ahead, I'm setting shorter goals within like the next few months or so. And I'd say they're more like process orientated goals, just to break it up a bit, because we don't really know what's going to happen, you know, even come September time at the time being. So I'm just going to try and break it down into those goals. And like, I just want to be consistent first and foremost with training. So just literally make sure I'm, you know, ticking the box with training sessions, and like sitting on the erg and thinking, am I getting the most out of this session? Not just, you know, plodding along for 18k and just doing it because I have to do it. So I'm trying to focus on bits and bobs like that, and literally like really simple goals, like, you know, are my hips in the right position for the whole ergo, or just stripping it back a bit, or even like, you know, like mindset, like, am I, you know, I'm in a good place with regards to that. So just trying to break it into chunks along the way, to, yeah, instead of a long haul.
Yeah. And obviously you've got no teammates at the moment to train with, but you are very much part of a team. So how are you sort of staying part of a team? Are you working out together at all, or have you had any sort of links with Warrington whilst you've been back, even though you can't go down to the Mersey?
No, so on Monday mornings I do a session with the juniors and my old rowing coach. So we like, he'll ring up and
an online session, I'm assuming.
An online session, yeah. Which is online, a Zoom session. So we do that on a Monday, and then with regards to the Edinburgh squad, we've had one session with the SMC coach, and then I arranged a like core yoga session, which was nice to see everyone and, you know, keep in touch. And then it's actually good because Shep and Lauren have, like, we've got a group and we have Zoom calls with like all the under 23 development athletes, and they do like a weekly challenge. So it might be like, cook a meal this week for your family, and we've got to post a picture, or like a t-shirt challenge which is going around. So that's kind of making it fun and just, you know, a bit of a distraction, and it's kind of keeping morale high in camp, I'd say.
Good stuff. Good. Well, we are where we are, and, you know, really appreciate you sharing your journey up till now. And I think that, you know, your mindset in terms of, certainly that's the guidance that I as a coach has been given to my athletes as well, is like, we don't know what's going to be happening, so setting those short-term goals and almost weekly goals is a good place to be in some ways, because 2021's a long way off. We don't know what's going to happen between now and then. We could never have predicted this, really. So really appreciate your time. I have some quick fire questions for you before we go, though. This is a mix of serious and not so serious questions. So, favourite go-to post-race food?
Ooh,
or post-training food?
Post-race food would be something like a home-cooked, like my mum's roast dinner. It would have to be. But then another post-race snack would be my dad's flapjack, because it's so good. Okay,
it's good to know. We'll have to get him to bring some of that to Warrington. Of all the multi-lane lakes that you've raced on, which is your favourite?
Munich. When I did the Munich regatta in, was it J17? It was so nice. You can see the bottom and it's so clear.
Yeah, very nice lake. Favourite domestic head or regatta? So in the region, in the Northwest region.
In the Northwest?
Yeah.
I really like racing, is it the head of the D?
Chester long distance. There's two. There's D autumn head and there's Chester long distance.
I think it's D. I've done both, but I really like the long head races there.
Distance, yeah.
They're really good.
Yeah, the D's a nice river. Best coaching advice you've ever had? You don't have to say it is from. Don't worry.
The one thing that springs to mind when you say that is what Richard, my old coach, is saying. He always used to say, "Play nicely." So just like, I don't know, it just reminds me of him. I don't know, it's probably like motivation than anything else.
Play nicely. Well done, Richard. Yeah.
Yeah, classy.
It's good advice. It is. You know, we're all opposition and we're all competition between each other, but we all need to be nice. Yeah. Favourite piece of kit in terms of clothing?
Favourite piece of clothing? Oh, it has to be I used to have, I think it's the Rock the Boat jumper, which was, it was my brother's, actually really old. It was like a Warrington one, and it was like a fleece, but it was waterproof. And it was honestly the best kit I've ever had, and it used to keep me so warm and dry, and I was absolutely gutted because the zip's broken on it.
I have to have a words with them.
Yeah.
What's something that you can't train without?
Oof.
Either in the gym or on the water.
Like, the things which are springing to mind is like water bottle music, but I've done both. I've trained without both of those. What can't I train without? A lycra. I could probably train without that too.
You're training these days.
That's a really hard question.
Well, I think water and what would you say? Water, stroke, coach, the classic ones, aren't they? So
I feel like I could carry balls or something.
Yeah. Right, here's one that could be controversial: Nottingham, Dorney, or Strathclyde?
Nottingham.
Oh.
Strathclyde's windy as heck. It's horrible.
And you're allowed to say that because you've raced a lot at all of them, and you train at Strathclyde a lot at the moment as well. So good. The Nottingham people will be behind you there. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Favourite rest day activity? So when you're not rowing, what's your favourite thing to do?
Either baking or do some baking, or yoga, like yoga stretching.
Yeah. Most memorable race?
Most memorable race is when I was a junior and I did Henley Women's Regatta. I think it was a J15 at the time, and I literally must have won by like a cat's whisker. Like, it was the closest race. I didn't even know where I'd come. I just heard my dad's like shouting at the end, and I was like, oh. So tight. I was like down the whole way.
Next one: winter grind or summer racing? Which is your favourite?
Summer racing every day.
All the time.
Yeah.
Here's an interesting one, given that you couldn't remember how many Nat Schools medals you got. How many all-in-ones do you reckon you've got?
I got 20.
I'm not going to check, don't worry, nobody's going to count.
Too many.
What's the best thing about your home club? What's the best thing about Warrington Rowing Club for you?
The people I've met along the way, for sure.
Cool. And then the last one, which is the northwest one as well. What's your favourite northwest bit of water?
I mean, I love the Mersey because I've rowed on that since like it can be beautiful. But I really like the River Weaver at Runcorn's really nice when you go up to the top. But I like a race at Northwich too.
Yeah, good straight bit.
It's nice and straight, and it's like 2K-ish, so it's decent. It's not too long.
Yeah. No, we've got very lucky to have some good bits of water in the region.
There's great water everywhere.
Yeah. So that is the end of your questions, the quick fire round. So really appreciate your time this evening, Lucy. I think that certainly coaches, athletes are going to be watching this back and taking some real good nuggets from it. So really appreciate your time, and wishing you all the very best for the rest of lockdown and the rest of the season. And we look forward to seeing what you're doing next season as well. And you'll always be a Northwest girl, so we'll
yeah, it's Northwest. I'm so happy to be back in the Northwest, honestly. Back in the North.
Absolutely fantastic. Thanks very much for your time. Cheers.